ado, I'd like to introduce Pranav M Bidare. He's a communication lead at the Center for Internet and Society. And sir, thank you very much for joining us. And sir is always with us for any of our ventures and endeavors. Is always supportive. Thank you so much for that. And a brief bio I wish to introduce Professor. So, sir is a communication lead at Center for Internet and Society with a keen interest in digital rights, so internet governance and public policy. And Pranav plays a vital role in shaping CIS outreach and engagement strategies also. And one I can say call him as a people's person because always he like to be with students and he like to encourage and also try to involve in making them to understand the reality behind the development of technology. And with a background in media and strategic communications, Pranav experience in developing content strategies, PR, and advocacy campaigns is very important. His work focuses on making complex policy discussions more accessible to diverse audience, ensuring that critical issues surrounding digital freedom, privacy, and cybersecurity receive the attention they deserve. Beyond this professional commitment, Pranav is passionate about knowledge sharing and community building. He actively engages with stakeholders across academia, civil society, and policy making to drive informed decision on the evolving landscape of internet and its social impact. So, once again, a warm welcome to you. Happy to have you on our portal today. Can somebody give access to unmute Pranav MB? Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you, Professor. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's a great opportunity for me to address such a nice gathering and also listen to Dr. Melkote's keynote speech. It was very informative, and I first want to, before I start off, I want to thank St. Paul's College for organizing this program and inviting me and allowing me also the opportunity to interact with education systems and other educators, which I believe is a key activity that needs to be done to better society in any form. Uh, for today's talk, I am going over artificial intelligence and its role in media research. But before that, if it's all right, I'd like to share a presentation that I can accompany my
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
talk with. Is that all right? Okay,
Yes, sir. You're already co-host. You will be able to share the screen.
all right. I am just going to start. Um, is my screen visible? Is the
Visible, sir.
presentation visible?
Visible. Visible, sir. Perfect.
Okay, great, great. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to speak for roughly an hour, hopefully with questions as well, on the role that artificial intelligence plays generally in society a little bit, and more so with respect to media research. So, I'll talk about how artificial intelligence is applied, what kind of tools there are, what kind of applications are possible, what benefits it provides, some harms that come with the application of artificial intelligence, and what those implications are, and perhaps ways in which we could address them going forward. So the objectives of my talk, it's primarily uh, to create some kind of discourse that helps enhance the understanding regarding the role that AI plays generally in the world and specifically in terms of media research. Then I'll also look at the opportunities that AI is bringing, the new opportunities it has created, the ethical challenges that it has brought, the implications that these challenges create, and what harms can happen. And then finally close off the session with maybe some kind of interactive discussion on how a balance between the innovation and the benefits that AI provides can exist without alongside like minimizing the risks and practicing ethical AI platforms. Uh, so to start off, I'm sure most people on this call know what the different types of artificial intelligence are and what it means. But essentially, an AI in very general terms is something that uh, can perform a task that requires human intelligence to otherwise get done. So, a robot that is controlled remotely can, say, move heavy objects, which is perform which where and if that is happening, then you can see that the robot is performing a task that typically requires human labor or human energy. An artificial intelligence will do tasks that otherwise will require an actual intelligent human being with some amount of cognitive capacity and sentience to perform. So, for example, a chat bot like ChatGPT uh, can hold conversations uh, similar to what a human intelligence will be able to perform. And that is something that qualifies it as an artificial intelligence and not just any other type of technology. So, usually these things are classified as learning tasks, reasoning tasks, and problem solving tasks, but these are just general terms. So, in terms of what different types of artificial intelligences are, there are six examples in the image, but it's important to know that these things only differ in very small or slight amounts and not significant amounts. So, uh, while there are while there are like specific definitions for each of these things, um, sometimes things get blurred, and as technology evolves, sometimes they also merge into similar things. So, to start off with from the center, machine learning is a very popular common term that has become very widespread. It essentially is a more advanced form of pattern recognition, where you have a piece of code that you feed data into, and the code analyzes the data, learns to recognize patterns from the data, and then can give you results of some kind, of a very specific kind, whatever the code is programmed to do. And that model, which has now retained the experience, retained the knowledge of sifting through a specific type of data set and identifying patterns, is called an AI model. And essentially, what this means is if you feed it any other type of data, because of the amount of data the model has trained on, it will be able to give you similar results on any type of data. So, ChatGPT, for example, and any other text based tools like, say, uh, Claude, Claude AI, or um, DeepSeek, which is a newer model that's made the news. All of these tools, they are able to give us results because the models have been trained on an immense number of text in English that has been made available as a data set uh, through a machine learning algorithm. So machine learning is one of the basic forms of AI that through some variations forms other things. Neural networks are a little more advanced. They are built to simulate the nervous system that exists in a human being. So, uh, the in terms of the purpose and or how it works, it's essentially a set of algorithms instead of just one or a few algorithms that uh, are capable or are trained to look at a significantly larger data set and uh, pick out correlations on multiple categories of data. Uh, similar and perform actions similar to what statisticians would perform. So things like a regression analysis or things regarding stock market risks and predicting values of shares of different companies, predicting sales and things like that. So that is something a neural network would be more capable of doing. Uh, Deep learning is it while neural networks expand in terms of scale, deep learning, like the name suggests, expands in terms of depth. So uh, deep learning, I mean, it is a little complex in terms of how it is technically different from other things, but uh, it often analyzes a specific singular set of data uh, in multiple different ways and essentially learns on multiple levels based on the results it obtains from identifying the data. So what this results in is an AI model that is very comprehensive in terms of the different possibilities that of outputs that are possible. So instead of just being widespread and covering all bases, it is more specialized and it is able to identify more nuanced changes in the data than other models. So, for example, uh, deep learning algorithms are more useful in terms of uh, memorizing or like learning to mimic intonation in voices, even though that is like very nuanced and subtle differences. Learning to mimic intonations in voices, learning to identify facial expressions and correlate them to different emotions. So these are things that a deep learning model is more specialized in. Computer vision is a little simpler. It's very it's a tool that helps artificial intelligence models identify visual stimulus and differentiate between different types of visual stimuli. So, for example, if there is a collection of items and a few of those items relate to a dog, and then other items have an image of a cat. Computer vision is what essentially will help an AI model identify that one specific set of images is portraying a dog and the other one is portraying a cat. Uh, this also helps in, uh, say, medical applications where there are some AI models in specific jurisdictions that can identify fractures in X-rays and abnormalities through MRI scans and things like that. So that is computer vision. Cognitive computing is more of an interface-based use case where AI models are trained to identify human behavior and thought processes and respond or give actions in a specific way that caters to mm, the interaction that humans would expect. So, for example, an assistant tool like Siri or Alexa or I think Google Assistant. So these are examples of tools that have come about as a result of cognitive computing. Uh, Natural language processing is quite simple. Uh, it is essentially the text-based AI models that specialize in identifying different types of text, identifying speech recognition in some cases, uh, looking at sentiment analysis, looking at the emotion that is expressed through different text, uh, looking at patterns and making grammatically correct sentences, generating these things. All of these things are part of natural language processing models. Now, most of these models, popularly in present day, refer to generative AI, which is a relatively newer type of AI. The difference between generative AI and AI that has been in use for a longer period is generative AI results in generative AI tools in are always used to create some kind of content. So ChatGPT can generate an essay for you. It can write an email for you. Uh, but before generative AI, there were other AI tools that were very regularly used. For example, some of the things we will get to, but for example, Google's ad program use an AI tool that would identify patterns in data sets to figure out which ads are performing better in which types of users, and which ads and how ads should be created to cater to different demographics. All of these things were decisions made with the help of an AI tool, but these involved transformations of some kind. So there would be a data set that is analyzed, and then the result would be a transformation that is built on patterns identified in the data set. It isn't generation of content, it is just taking one thing and making conclusions based on that. So the data available to you is essentially transformed into a more useful form. Uh, so transformative AI and generative AI are a little different. Both of them perform tasks that require human intelligence, but generative AI is obviously more popular because it is significantly more advanced in terms of the technical requirements and the capacity, and in terms of how it appears and can create an interface with human beings. But transformative AI has been in use for much longer, and it is going to continue to be used. It's unlikely that the use cases for of transformative AI are going to be fully replaced by generative AI. Now, another key difference or a key distinction when we're talking about artificial intelligence, the difference between artificial intelligence and human intelligence is that human intelligence is always more versatile. So, one technical difference is that human intelligence is always more versatile. ChatGPT might be able to write an essay or an email similar to how I would be able to, but it is unlikely that ChatGPT would be able to, uh, or other AI tools would be able to create a talk like this, identify which images should go on what types of slides, and then present them to an audience like this. So it, uh, but it is possible for an AI that is programmed to do exactly this task to do that. So what I'm saying is AI tools are usually programmed and created with specific goals in mind. Generate an image like an artist would paint an image, or create a video that is very believably human made, uh, write an essay that is very well researched and has sources. These are things that AI models can be programmed to do. Uh, a human intelligence with a little context would be capable of many of these things, but AI models are capable of specific things that they're programmed to do. So that is one technical difference, because I keep getting asked this question that what is the value of human labor or human relevance in different types of work if AI is just going to do it? The value is that AI tools are simply just tools that can do one thing. So a screwdriver that is built normally cannot perform the functions of a hammer. Or if it does it, if you use it as a hammer, it will be quite ineffective. But a human can use both a screwdriver and a hammer and knows how to do that. So that is a key difference. The other distinction when it comes to artificial intelligence, there is no artificial intelligence that does things. It is always a human who is using an AI tool to perform a specific goal or a specific task. There is AI does not do things. Humans use AI to get things done. It is just like how Microsoft Word does not type something on its own. Human beings use Microsoft Word to generate Word documents. Similarly, human beings use AI to generate different things or perform different actions. So at the end, it is still something that is human run. It is still controlled by human beings. So later we will get to some of the issues or challenges that come with artificial intelligence. This is not an inherent problem with the technology itself. This is a human problem. And I believe uh, Dr. Melkote mentioned something about using the standards that we have been using human media, uh, for the human media industry, and using the same standards to judge AI generated content. The reason why that is very valid is because it is still a human being who is generating content using an AI tool. So at the end of the day, the tools might have changed, but it's still human beings who are doing the ultimate task. We just need to figure out ways to comprehend how the technology is changing the ecosystem and then put things in place to minimize harms. So, just wanted to check with the organizers if if I should take questions in between or if I should wait till the end for questions. Uh, Professor Prashant, should I? Okay, I think I'll just go ahead and then we can take questions at
It's
the end,
yeah.
I think.
Proceed, sir. Please proceed. The questions we can take at the end.
All right, thank you, doctor. Okay, uh, so I'm moving ahead. Uh, okay, so what does AI do? How does it change ecosystems? What does what kind of a difference does it make? So for lay people, including us, everyday applications of AI include recommendation systems. So anyone who is using Netflix or any other streaming service, or anyone who is using Spotify and its autoplay music feature, will know that it is always full of recommendations for things you should watch or things you should listen to, which Spotify or Netflix thinks you will like. So it isn't Spotify or Netflix thinking that you will like something. It is developers and uh, decision makers at these companies who are deciding to use specific tools that will look at your data, look at your watch data on Netflix, your listening data on Spotify, and then use a program to try to figure out what things you will like and then recommend those to you. So it's not the algorithm itself that is doing this. It's a very specific decision by decision makers at these companies who are doing that. Voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, all of these things are also everyday applications of AI. Uh, then we have Google Photos, for example, identifying faces in different photos and cataloging them on the basis of people. Apple's Photos application also does this. We have some facial recognition tools. A lot of countries use this in their immigration processes. India is attempting to use that as part of its Digi Yatra scheme uh, for with questionable amount of success. But if you've visited Singapore or been part of automatic immigration countries with automatic immigration systems, facial recognition technology is very widely employed. So, image recognition is one other such thing. For the media sector, uh, for the media sector specifically, how does image, uh, how is artificial intelligence applied? So first, there is content analysis where media of different types can be an AI tool can be used to look at different types of media and come up with different conclusions. So this can help in a number of cases. This can help with, say, simple things like voice identification. If there are two audio clips and they're spoken by the same person, and you are unsure about whether they're spoken by the same person or not, an AI tool can easily help you do that. Uh, transcribing a transcribing words from an audio clip or a video clip, generating automatic subtitles, uh, transcribing and then translating the audio from a video or an audio clip. Uh, Similar things while translating text. All of these things are content analysis use cases that are particularly useful in the media research sector. Uh, Other ways in which content analysis can be done is similar to the recommendation systems that Netflix and other service providers use. So, when, for example, social media platforms, when you post a video or an image on Instagram, that image is becomes new data for Meta's AI models. So that image is then fed into Meta's AI models, and they use it as practice images to identify the objects in an image, to identify objects or patterns in a video, and build AI models that can do those specific tasks better. So content analysis can be applied in all of these things. Uh, Content and other data can also be analyzed for the purpose of audience insights, which essentially looks at a data set that has how different behavior or preferences or categories have been demonstrated through a specific experience. So, if you have, for example, if you are doing a trial run for an advertisement, if you have uh, data on how people reacted to the advertisement, and an AI tool can possibly identify exactly at which points people reacted positively to the advertisement and at which points people reacted negatively to the advertisement. And then an AI tool could also tell you what changes are required in the advertisement to make the advertisement more effective. I'm talking about advertisements as one very specific example. It need not be advertisements. It could simply just be art. This happens in movies. This happens for big budget movies and games and all kinds of multimedia where audience insights are analyzed and changes are made in the art form. This also happens to a lot of products that are demoed, a lot of software tools or physical products that are demoed. Audience insights are used to uh, receive criticism, identify issues, and generate better products. Sometimes the AI can itself create a better product based on audience insights. And this comes to media production. So, for example, if there is an advertisement that has received mixed audience responses, then an AI tool could analyze where the mixed responses came from and what is the reason for the negative responses. It could create hundreds of variations of that advertisement and then test all of those different advertisements for audience insights and arrive at perfect things. It could even produce media that where one specific advertisement is good for South India. One specific advertisement is good for Madhya Pradesh. One specific advertisement is good for the Latin American countries. So all of these things, producing this is also something AI tools can do. Uh, AI generated content most easily happens in text as of present day. Images are a little more difficult to fake, and video is very difficult to. It's very difficult to generate pure AI video and make it look like a human being has shot that video or made that video. It's much easier for animated content to be generated that looks like it is human-made animated content. Uh, but media production in general, text-based media is the best, is the most successful of the AI-generated contents. Excuse me. Uh, all of these production-based use cases have received flack for different issues in their process, in the processes used to create the AI model, and in the way the AI models continue to run. Some of them have also received lawsuits targeting them. Some of them have also lost lawsuits. For example, ChatGPT, I think, has lost at least one case in the European Union and was fined for an issue I will get to. But yeah, there are both image generators and text generators, as far as AI tools go. More often than not, they have been accused of operating unethically or illegally in some form. Segueing from unethical illegal work, one of the reasons why AI text models receive a lot of criticism is because they can be easily used to create misinformation and publish misinformation very rapidly. But one thing that AI tools can also do is identify misinformation. So if you have an AI tool, there are AI tools available, very few of them, and many in development that can look at a specific web page, identify misinformation, identify context, and be able to tell that a specific article is pretending to be a news site, but is actually performing misinformation instead or disinformation. So AI tools can also be used to identify fake news. Uh, when it comes to the tools themselves that are available, there are an immense number of tools. Every day, more tools become available. I am not exaggerating. Literally every day, more AI tools become available, either in the form of like test runs or more developed forms of older AI tools. And it after a point, it does become like what do you call it? It is a boom phase as market students would or economists might call it. Uh, there are a lot of people investing in AI, and there are a lot of people who are coming up with new startups and new products. It remains to be seen how the market will develop and how many of these products will continue to survive. But there are a lot of these tools. I have mentioned around 10 tools or 10 or 11 tools. Uh, the content analysis tools are primarily softwares that NVivo, for example, is a tool that analyzes qualitative data. So it can help, uh, say, write a research paper for you, or it can look at 50 interview transcripts and give you the common themes that are present in all of these interviews. Leximancer is another tool that can help analyze, say, academic papers and make summaries. It can create visualizations or infographics based on summaries. Uh, mm, Monkey Learn, from what I know, is mostly used for sentiment analysis, and it can help do some other things, like it can help classify topics within different data sets. But it's a wide they offer a wide range of like text analysis services. Uh, for audience insights, Google Analytics, I think, is the most popular one. An example of the transformative AI that has been in use for a very long time. Google Analytics is very popular. It looks at audience demographics across all of Google Suite services. It looks at behavior of different users when they use Google's search engine, even. It studies audience behavior. It looks at their engagement on different social media platforms and then makes conclusions and gives you, I mean, essentially like sells that data to uh, ad companies and things like that. Brand Watch is, and it's another tool that helps mm, anybody essentially analyze online conversations on a very large scale. So it can look at, like the name suggests, it is essentially used to track the mentions of specific brands and look at like conversation trends on social media and what products are hyped, and again use that information to generate money in some way. Media production tools, GPT models are very popular. They can write text for you. Some of them can create images. Sometimes images are good, sometimes images are not good. Runway ML is a video editing and image generation software. It's a model that helps with video editing. Sorry, was there a question? I think, yeah, all right. Uh, Runway ML is, I'm just quickly going over each of these things. You'll also have access to the slide. I will share it with uh, the faculty members, and then you can look at these things. But like I said, tomorrow, any of these, honestly, when I had made this slideshow, I had added another company and a tool on this. And today morning, I found out the tool got acquired. So I had to remove it because the tool no longer exists. So this can happen to any of these things. Uh, but yeah, Runway ML is an AI model that helps in video editing. So sometimes the video editing can even be automatic. If you just ask for specific results, for example, uh, change focus from character A to character B in a scene in a movie, uh, the AI model is capable of stopping camera focus, blurring out the background in one section, and redirecting focus onto another character. So these are things that Runway ML and other tools like that can do. Adobe Firefly is mostly good for for creating visualizations, but Adobe Suite has a number of AI tools that are useful for a lot of multimedia use cases. In India, BEL is developing a tool that can look at text and identify mis or disinformation, essentially identify fake news that exists online. It is a tool that is a work in progress. You can find it on BEL's website. Bot Sentinel is a similar tool that can look at social media platforms and identify bot accounts and troll accounts and people who are using hate speech and things like that. NewsGuard is another, I think, a browser extension that can tell you how trustworthy a news site is by analyzing its news and telling you how transparent the site is and how problematic it is. Um, but yeah, in terms of how else, so these are some of the tools that incorporate AI models and could be useful for different areas of media research. And the way these things can be used is one in terms of automated journalism, where you can use AI models to generate entire articles. You can write reports with them. You can also create, say, recaps of sporting events. You can create summaries of the weather forecast. You can do all of these things in real time. For example, I think Associated Press generated an entire earnings report for a quarter using AI completely, and it was accurate. Social media research use cases include sentiment analysis and predictions. So, uh, social media tool, I mean, AI tools that AI tools can help social media companies and other researchers analyze conversations on social media and gauge uh, I mean, from conversations and the behavior of users, figure out, say, uh, consensus on different types of opinions, political sentiments, which was used to uh, in the popular Cambridge Analytica example, where data from social media was used to gauge public sentiments. This is also very commonly done by researchers and academics a lot, where they look at public political sentiment on by looking at conversations that happen on social media. Then the other use case is also for entertainment, where you can enhance the quality of images simply by using AI. So if this happens more often in AR and VR use cases, so augmented and virtual reality use cases, where there are AI tools that will look at that will identify what your eyes are focusing on and use data to essentially enhance the visual quality of the object that you're looking at while everything else remains blurred. But it is very difficult to notice because the moment you look at something else, the AI tool will also identify that you're looking at something else. And now, whatever it is you're looking at will be the most high definition thing, while other things are blurred. So, this is also done by movie studios and more popularly game studios. Some of these game studios also use AI to create automated storytelling and creative experiences, which is it's a little difficult to explain, and there isn't a single category of use case there. It's still something that is explored, and new uh, use cases are being discovered for the purpose of entertainment. Uh, Sometimes AI is also used to generate content altogether. Again, this has received a lot of criticism. So, AI generated scripts that were there was a writers and actors strike that happened for I think it was like early last year when it ended, but that was because movie studios were uh, attempting to prioritize AI script writers instead of actual humans who are writing scripts. So whenever AI tools are in contention for replacing labor or productivity, it is received fairly positively. But when AI is brought into the picture to replace artistic work that human beings do, then there is a lot of criticism that comes up, often very validly. Uh, Now we can go to ethical implications. So if you'll notice, I did not go into the deepfakes comment that I put in the last paragraph here, which I'll get to when we're talking about ethical implications. I think after ethical implications, I just have one more slide and then we can go into like key takeaways and any questions. So what are ethics? What is the point of ethics? Ethics essentially uh, are moral or rights-based principles uh, that the purpose of which is to avoid some kind of risk or harm and preserve specific rights. So, in this case, in the context of AI, the purpose of ethics and AI ethics as a stream altogether is to ensure that when AI is used by human beings, specific risks, specific problems are avoided, and rights that emerge out of, say, human rights frameworks, global human rights frameworks, or constitutions across the world, uh, like fundamental rights in India. So the use of AI, ethical frameworks exist to make sure that the use of this AI systems don't infringe on those rights or don't violate those rights. So some of the popular AI ethical issues I have mentioned here. So bias and inequality is a very popular one where because AI tools you learn from existing data that is collected by human beings historically. Human beings do not have a great history of being unbiased and preserving equality. Human history is full of instances where equality has been compromised in some form or the other across different groups of people. Even in present day, there is a lot of inequality in across the world, across all cultures. So it is impossible for, or close to impossible for an AI to find a data set that it can train on that will truly be unbiased and truly be equal. So when an AI is trained using a human data set with human problems, uh, it will learn and make those human problems the norm in its decision making. And then when a human being learns inequality and bias and uh, makes that the norm, a human will make maybe one decision per day or a few decisions per day. An AI is capable of making thousands or tens of thousands of decisions on a daily basis or even an hourly basis, uh, which means all of this inequality and biased decision making is significantly amplified. um, this is the this was seen in multiple cases in the US when they used judicial decision making data from US history to try to train AI judges. Uh, they found that the AI judge would immediately say the person brought before the court is guilty if the person was an African American, because historically in the US, judges have ruled against African American origin citizens. Uh, they found that AI tools for decision making that were trained on historical data, human data, would always have, would more likely, significantly more likely have a negative decision if the person in question was not a white man. So the inequality was significantly amplified. And this was an AI tool that could judge, that could pass judgments on hundreds of matters in a day. Uh, so bias and inequality is quite dangerous when it comes to AI. Uh, Now I've been talking about data as the source of an AI model's learning mechanism. You need data to train any AI model, but most of this data has to belong to somebody. And for example, if you want to train an AI tool to identify fractures from X-rays, you need health data from thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of X-rays, where an AI model can learn that an X-ray, a fracture in an X-ray looks like something, and a perfectly healthy bone looks like something else. All of these X-rays belong to the patients. Uh, so if you have to train an AI model that can identify X-rays, you have to get the consent of millions of patients and then procure the X-ray data from millions of patients, which most AI developers are claim to not be capable of doing, and this is not practiced. So often, what happens is AI models are trained on data obtained unethically without the consent of the person to whom that data belongs to. ChatGPT is a big example. It has already paid fines to European countries because it collected data without the consent of European citizens and then trained ChatGPT on it. So uh, and then it did not store the personal data of European citizens and all citizens in secure places. And ChatGPT's servers were hacked, and now that personal data of like millions of people from across the world that was illegally obtained by ChatGPT is now in the hands of many people, and there is no control over what they could do with that data. So this is an incredible privacy breach, and because AI depends on data so much, all AI developers to some extent are encouraged to commit these privacy breaches, which is again a big ethical issue. When we're talking about legitimacy of information, mis and disinformation is another big issue where you can use ChatGPT or other AI tools to write news articles that simply tell fake news and then publish them and create public sentiment, use essentially propaganda to alter public sentiment or create outrage in society, create unnecessary panic, just generally spread misinformation and disinformation, which can be done much faster because of AI. Before generative AI, people had to sit and think about what would be the most effective kind of fake news to propagate. Now it's all automated and it happens very fast. That's another ethical issue. AI models, at least Western popular AI models, are all very energy intensive. They consume a lot of energy. I think the statistic was that GPT-4, which is, I think, the most popular AI model presently, uh, the most advanced chat GPT model. So GPT-4 would uh, essentially, to generate 100-word response, GPT-4 would consume enough energy that could charge four different iPhones of the latest model. So the from 0 to 100. So that is how much energy 100-word response from GPT-4 would require. This is a big problem because a lot of energy is being spent and a lot of climate change effect is happening because of widespread use of AI models. But there are newer models that are coming out which claim to use a lot less energy. I think like 97% less energy. So there is hope on that front with respect to environmental impact. Uh, Transparency and accountability is not a new problem that has come about because of generative AI or is specific to the media industry. This is something that that is being discussed for like more than 10 or 15 years. AI models are not very transparent. You don't know how they work. You don't know what kind of logical processes the algorithm is taking. Very few AI models practice explainable techniques in their algorithms. Mm, And a lot of AI models, or like use cases of AI systems, don't assign liability to someone or a specific person when there is a mistake in the AI's outcome and decisions are taken based on that mistake. So, uh, who who is responsible for a mistake or harm caused because of a mistake that arises out of an AI's usage? That is an accountability question, which again is an issue that isn't clearly handled uniformly. So that's one issue. Intellectual property is something that again ties back to the data aspect, where uh, you look at how ChatGPT was trained. It essentially pirated thousands of or tens of thousands of books. I think several hundred terabytes of books were pirated to be used as training data for ChatGPT. And none of the authors of any of these books were compensated in any way. So this is like a very clear intellectual property violation. Uh, and similar things have been done through image generation AI tools. There are some models, like I think Adobe's model has a compensation mechanism where the original people who made the artwork that was used by Adobe's AI to train on and generate another work. Whenever that happens, the original artist gets a small amount of money. But for most models like ChatGPT, the intellectual property violation has already happened, and no, they're simply just waiting to face legal action for these things. So that is, yes, another ethical issue. So the conclusion is that AI is bringing a lot of benefits. It is improving efficiency. It is creating a lot of good and enhancing the quality of a lot of tasks, making a lot of tasks faster, more efficient. But it is also actively bringing to light new threats which nobody has ever had to deal with before, or nobody has to had to deal with on the scale that they have to deal with now. So it is very useful, but also very dangerous. Uh, so very quickly, what are things that we can do as this group of as part of this FDP? First, I think what needs to be done is promote research on responsible AI tools. So this isn't research on AI. This isn't research on how to make AI better. This is research on creating research on which tools are already following best practices when it comes to privacy, best practices when it comes to intellectual property respect. Which tools, which developers are already creating safeguards to prevent bias or inequality in their AI tools, which companies are practicing accountability and transparency frameworks, which AI tools are the best when it comes to environmental impact. So, bringing in experts and identifying these tools, and then promoting the use of just those tools and publicizing why you're using those tools as opposed to others on an institutional scale is a very good first step. Uh, People know how bad Facebook is when it comes to data because it is widely known. Over the years, people have been very suspicious of Meta and Facebook, and they know that Facebook doesn't really care for privacy and people's personal data. So that is something that is public information because of actions like this, because experts have conducted research, they have promoted specific types of information in public and created awareness, which needs to be done for AI tools as well. Uh, Students and professionals who are using AI should also be specifically trained on what AI tools are available and what the challenges for each of these tools are, ethical and technical challenges, and how they can be solved. So essentially, what I did in this slideshow, but in significantly more detail, should be a curriculum for students at different points in education, even in primary education. This needs to happen. Similar to how uh, coding is seen as a basic subject in a lot of schools these days, AI also needs to be seen as a basic subject in a lot of educational systems. So AI education is one more thing. Stakeholder and expert collaboration. This is specific to the professional community right now, where we, as I mean, me as a legal professional, uh, me speaking to other lawyers on what the best way forward for AI is not going to be as useful as me speaking to media experts, me speaking to industry experts, me speaking to psychologists, me speaking to environmentalists, uh, me speaking to a diverse set of experts to figure out a strategy for how AI issues should be handled and what what best practices are for my institution. That is something that can give much more meaningful results than me speaking to people in my community and having a limited perspective. So this multidisciplinary perspective and collaboration needs to happen, and it shouldn't happen as like one-off instances. It isn't something where you bring together a meeting and then you arrive at a document and you follow the document. AI, by the time you print the document out, the landscape on AI is going to change. You need to have these sustained collaborative efforts. You need to have networks that meet frequently, that share information very proactively across different areas. People who are willing to explain the law to non-legal audiences. People who are willing to explain technical aspects of AI to non-technical audiences. All of this needs to happen on a very in a very sustained manner. So that level of collaboration is a little difficult to do. It takes a lot of effort. But if we have to catch up to the speed at which AI is evolving, we have to also evolve our efforts in dealing with issues. We have to be more rapid in our response. And finally, when it comes to AI infrastructure, I think similar to how all organizations need to have dedicated personnel to deal with AI, to essentially govern the use of AI and also be experts who can uh, solve AI related problems, essentially. And right now, this is not a common practice, but the number of AI experts that are available are limited. So, if so, there is a unique opportunity for fast movers in the present day market where they can essentially get the help of these experts and establish AI infrastructure within organizations to govern future use and development of AI within the organization. This can also help in creating educational content and curriculum and things like that. But it's similar to how an IT department is set up in almost every university, right? Like there is an IT department whose job it is to make sure that cybersecurity is maintained to an extent, to make sure that uh, internet access is maintained. Similarly, an AI department needs to be set up to ensure that specific AI benchmarks are also met across institutions. So, those are things I think can be done. These are some questions I put in the slide as like closing of thoughts for people to either discuss or answer. I think I'm looking at the chat uh, to see if there are any questions. I don't think there are any questions for me. Um, but if there are any, please let me know. But yeah, that is all. That is all from my end.
Thank you, Mr. Bidari, for that thought provoking session. Actually, we do have some questions that were sent to us in other platforms. So, the first question is what for, when people want to leverage AI tools for media research, how do they go about it? How do they approach it? That was one of the questions.
So media research, I think, is very broad. Uh, I think AI, there is a wide range of AI tools available. So, for example, if you're a content creator, uh, every single aspect of your work, even figuring out an idea to post a reel on Instagram, like even figuring out what your reel should be about, from that aspect to doing the posting and generating a caption and posting it online, all of these things are it is possible to automate them using like 8 to 10 different AI tools. You can just get a product from tool 1, give it to tool 2, and it will give you a different product, and you do that 8 times and then you have a reel ready to post. So there are a lot of AI tools. New ones are coming up literally every day. And so your goals in your research are the key things. So are you conducting research? Does your research involve field work? Does your research involve interviewing people? Then perhaps an AI tool that will help gather patterns in your interview responses is the right tool for you. Uh, do you want to brainstorm ideas? Then a text-based platform that has some amount of cognitive computing capacity would be ideal for you. Does your research involve examining news sites and finding out which news sites are good, or what kind of misinformation or disinformation or fake news exists on different news platforms? Then an AI tool that can identify inappropriate speech or inappropriate content might be the most useful for you. So it honestly depends on what your thesis is and what your goals are when it comes to media research. So it's very similar to software, right? Like, what kind of software is best for me as a lawyer? So if I say, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a researcher, but as a researcher, what kind of software is best for me? It's a very broad question. There are hundreds of options of really good tools that I can use depending on what my research is. Similarly, there are many, many tools for media researchers to use depending on what your needs are.
Mr. Pranav, as you
Yes.
mentioned, today AI is revolutionizing the media research. As you mentioned, there are many powerful tools for content analysis on media insights or AI-driven production, and also for misinformation detection also. But basically, what we find is that all these tools are helping somebody to take up research only in English. So my question is, somebody, I mean, what kind of tools available for somebody who's trying to focus and work on regional languages? Because if you just see even the chat GPT also, we have a lot of Eastern impacts. Okay, well, we don't have anything, I mean, in terms of Indian requirement. And we don't find such kind of great, game-changing technology coming within the country. So, what is your take on regional language support or governance, and how we may consider the future technology to support the regional languages?
So the I guess the primary issue. You're right, Professor. The issue with most models that are popular in AI is most of the models are Western models. So they are made by uh, developers who have analyzed Western data sets, and not Indian data sets. And primarily, all of these data sets have dealt with English as a baseline. Uh, Indic languages, there are some efforts happening. There are some Indian government efforts happening where they're trying to bring about AI voice tools that work well in Indian languages, but this is a little. It's still a work in progress. It will be successful at some point. It's only a matter of time, but it is not ready yet. Uh, what we can do there is identify developers who have the capacity to do things in different languages and try to promote their work and like give them feedback and things like that. So that is one aspect. The other thing that we can do as general people in maybe contributing to the development of AI in regional languages, if that is your goal, is to aid in creating a data set for regional languages. For example, if you look at Kannada, uh, digitization is a very important thing when it comes to AI, because AI tools, the primary goal is to look at data sets that are digital in nature. If I But digitization in English has happened significantly more than digitization has happened in Kannada, for example. So perhaps contributing to libraries that are actively involved in digitizing Kannada books in their collection, which is an activity that happens. So there are archiving efforts. that happen across the country in libraries, where their works, where people are even on a volunteer basis come and essentially use different types of tools to digitize books and create archives of them. Uh, so archival efforts is one thing. Promoting government initiatives that also build databases in Indian languages is another thing. So uh, then there are other Indic language communities. For example, Wikipedia in Indian languages has a large community in multiple languages in India, where there are active events that happen where people are trained to add pages in Indian languages. And there are editathon sessions that happen where a lot of people come together and they make Wikipedia pages in different Indian languages for different topics of their choice. This happens as part of university collaborations and things like that. So, building a database in Indian languages is like a good first step because that data will be necessary for any good AI model.
Thank you, Professor. I think in the chat box,
Yes.
Professor Kannan has sent a message.
Yes.
Professor Kannan is from NCERT, Government of India. So thank you very
Okay,
much for
great.
joining us. Yeah. So as Sir has mentioned, Bhashini, the Indian AI-based apps, which is available for us to use. But again, one more question comes, sir. The fact is how Indian apps can compete with the global giants like ChatGPT or Gemini. Now, in terms of innovation and sustainability, that becomes one more question.
So this is a little yeah, but just before the question, nice to interact with you, Dr. Kannan. Bhashini is I think the more popular AI. I mean, the more popular tool from what I have from my research. Through my interactions with the government, Bhashini has always been the face of Indian AI. Revolution. Anuvadini, I have heard of it. I know about its translation and I think transliteration tools. Uh, but yes, very, very nice to speak to you. I think we should connect sometime after this also to discuss things. But in terms of, okay, so a big reason why uh, Western models are the way they are today is because of availability of resources. AI tools run on sorry, am I audible? I think I'll just switch off the screen share. I think I'm getting a message that says my video might be a little unclear. Uh, but yes, the a lot of AI tools run on very expensive, very energy intense hardware. So you need a graphics processing unit. You need a GPU that is very strong. You need multiple of them to train and successfully run an AI tool. Uh, or so we thought. That was the general belief until say like 2 months ago. 2 months ago, DeepSeek came out, which has disputed some of these claims, where they have been using, they have trained like a similar AI model on like very low level hardware. So until that happened, the general belief was that the leaders of this AI revolution are countries that have more capacity in terms of hardware, in terms of access to hardware, and in terms of general capital. Uh, uh, then there is also the issue of infrastructure and resources. So, a stable energy supply, for example, which is much more widely prevalent in Europe and the US than in India. So, this has been the case for the larger part of generative AI's revolutionary time. But in the past few months, since DeepSeek launched, the uh, sorry, since DeepSeek launched, the need for very expensive, very advanced hardware is now being questioned. So it is, I think now it is possible, it is very possible for Indian developers and any global South developers to start programming models and see how uh, not state-of-the-art tech hardware can be leveraged to create new AI tools. This is still a very technical question where mm, we need it depends on like developer ingenuity and innovation and what kind of support they get from different stakeholders, including like state support. So it's a little unpredictable question. Honestly, uh, the reason why we are in a situation today where we now know uh, yeah the reason we are in a situation today where we now know that technology of a certain advanced level is not required, not necessary for development of AI models, is through the result of some very unpredictable, unforeseen events. So no one predicted that Chinese developers would be able to make DeepSeek. Uh, like US foreign policy was shaped around preventing something like that from happening. But it still happened. Like Chinese developers have allegedly done this using very low hardware, very low level hardware. So it is very possible. How it happens is a question of ingenuity. So do I believe that it is possible now for Indian developers to release a competitor? It is hypothetically possible, yes. It like hardware is no longer a restricting feature. Uh, how likely is it? I am hoping it is very likely. I am hoping that because this is still a very recent event, everyone is racing to find out how to do this without the latest NVIDIA GPUs. But I'm hoping that it becomes like control over AI leadership in the world becomes more decentralized, and it's not always the US that is at the top. So I think there is another question in chat about why not India when China has developed DeepSeek, and yeah, that's very true. Uh, we it is very true. Like, why not India? I don't think India has a limitation in terms of technical capacity or like human intelligence. I don't think that is a limitation that exists in India. Uh, I think whatever hardware limitations need not be strict restrictions as China has shown us. So I don't think there is anything stopping Indian developers from doing this. Just the same way, I don't think there is anything now stopping any developer, any country's developers from doing this. So the playing field has been significantly leveled uh, because of like the GPU bubble that has now burst. Uh, the prospect of AI in education in India, I think that is a little bit of a difficult question. I think, like any state of the art technological tool, like mobile phones, for example, uh, yeah, so I'm just responding to one more question in chat. Sorry, I'm taking up so much time. I hope it's all right. If I need to cut short at any specific point, please let me know, Professor. Uh, but yeah, the prospect of AI in education in India, uh, it's I'll draw a similar analogy. So, for example, mobile phones, right? What is the prospect of mobile phones in Indian education? They can be very useful. They can literally connect you to the entire repository of known information for human being They can just on a very small screen, accessible basically anywhere. So a mobile phone is the ultimate database of knowledge. It can give you access to all known data, that is all known information that is known by human beings. But it's not something that is should be blindly introduced in education systems. It's not something that should be blindly given to children and uh, for use without oversight. Similarly, whenever there are a lot of benefits AI can do for education, but all of them, all AI tools also come with specific consequences. And just like how a mobile phone can be an immense distraction that can sabotage someone's educational pursuits, AI tools also have a lot of downsides depending on the person who is using them. So I think more than AI being used as a tool for education, I think the first step should be education on AI and what AI is and how it works and what its good things are, what its bad things are. Then use jumping to use AI, I think is the it's the good progression that we should follow when it comes to education. I think education on AI first and then using AI in education. Right now, education on AI is very limited. Most students get education about AI based on social media posts, which is not ideal. So I think curriculum, like in my presentation, I think AI education should be treated very seriously, and uh, proactive steps should be taken to introduce curriculum that trains people on how AI works and what it does. And then we can also use that in educational processes with more responsibility. Uh, how to tackle challenges in content analysis using AI tools, which show results, sometimes challenging, changing human behavior in the media sector. So I'm not very clear on this question. Can you rephrase it a little, Mr. Abhijit, just if that's all right? Okay. AI tools can help in creating user content analysis. So, yeah, I'll go into these questions one by one. So there are tools that uh, what can I say? So NVivo, for example, uh, or mm, okay, AI tools that can help study YouTube comments. Okay, so tools that I mentioned in the past, for example, Monkey Learn, uh, which is a tool that essentially does text analysis uh, for specific purposes of sentiment analysis. So when you are, it has models to look at something like YouTube comments, uh, and it's called Monkey Learn. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is still around. It has not been acquired, and it has a dashboard that lets you choose different types of tools for different types of use cases. And one of them is studying social media behavior. Mm, in terms of creating news or content analysis that is relevant for a specific target audience, I think the tool like NVivo, which was one of the first tools that I mentioned, would be ideal. I mean, I'm not advertising their tools necessarily, but it is a tool that would fit the use case more easily than something like GPT or DeepSeek. Uh, there are ways that you can use NVivo to analyze text and help modify text to fit specific target audiences. And I'm not sure if there is a automated loop possible. I'm sure it must be, but I have not used it where it can look at changing human behavior and then recycle and reframe the same type of content based on changing human behavior. But I'm sure it wouldn't be, at most, it will have one extra step for the human being in question to do before doing something like it. But yeah, it is very possible to have AI tools. The one thing that I would recommend is not entirely use a tool to create content from scratch, like fresh content. I would still recommend like having news content that is collected by a human being or the first draft that is created by a human being before using AI tools to modify it for uh, different types of audiences. Because there is a very low threshold for accuracy in a lot of AI tools. So it is very possible that if you use an AI tool to generate a news article, it's very possible that it might come up with some kind of misinformation. Thank you. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you, Dr. Revati. Thank you, Dr. Kannan. Thank you, Dr. Abhijit.
Um,
Ananya
thank,
ma'am.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for addressing the questions so comprehensively. On behalf of everyone present here, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to you for sharing your profound knowledge and experiences. Let's give him a virtual round of applause using the reactions. I now request everyone to switch on the camera for a group picture. I request the technical team to do the needful.
Uh, there is still just one question I just noticed in chat. Um, if it's okay, I'll quickly address this. Journalists, it is possible for journalists to lose jobs because of AI, but you won't be like the keynote speaker also said. You won't be losing a job in this case. You will be required to pick up on new skills to utilize AI to perform the job better. So journalists, I doubt will like the sense of journalism is a human thing which won't go away. The need for journalists will still exist. AI can't replace that. It will just be a few journalists doing the job of many, or many news sites uh, coming up in place of one that used to exist, or uh, new journalism organizations being created just to fact check AI news. So new opportunities will arise and new jobs will be created. It's just a matter of incorporating AI education into different skilling processes and learning accordingly.